Jackson to not look like a potential two-time MVP, they got that yesterday. We have to give all the credit in the world to a guy in Patrick Mahomes and his team that may go down as the greatest quarterback that people have ever seen. Patrick Mahomes is that good. As CC has mentioned, his first 6 years as a starter, 7 in the league. Exact same scenario as Brady, 6 as a starter, 7 in the league. It's crazy how they have the exact same sit year 1, play the next 6. Mahomes is better, right? Mahomes' career through 7 years, 6 as a starter, rivals Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning for the entirety of their career. He has as many playoff wins as Peyton Manning does. And he's only done this for 6 years, which is just nuts to think about. But we will have time for that. We're going to get to that. But the Lamar conversation is one that is stinky for us that are Lamar fans today. But we got to be real about this. Lamar Jackson is likely going to win his second MVP. When you win a second MVP, you find your way to the Hall of Fame. Those like CC and I specifically that have built this guy up don't look that good today because he didn't back up what we thought he could do yesterday. And Smalls has nailed this the entire time. If we are going to put Lamar on a pedestal, play like we're putting you on a pedestal. And yesterday, he did not do that. 20 of 37, 272, a touchdown, an interception, 8 carries, 54 yards, a strip sack fumble, bad decisions, overthrows, didn't look right. His timing was off relative to his throws and his decision-making on when to run. There is no way that anyone could watch this guy play yesterday and think, oh, yeah, that's an MVP-style player. It's not. Derek Jeter with the Yankees was so great for so long because he was the same guy in the regular season as he was in the postseason. Factually, Lamar Jackson is a different player in the postseason, and it's not better. We're just asking him to be the same, and he is worse.
If we're going to give Josh Allen smoke for not being able to get it done and beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, then we need to give Lamar the exact same treatment. I mean, there was one play really yesterday where at the beginning of the game when he escaped the defense and was able to have that beautiful touchdown pass where you were like, oh, okay, this is it. This is the moment. This is what we're going to see for the entirety of the game. I turned to the people I was watching the game with and I was like, this is going to be an all-time game. This is going to be a shootout because the Chiefs open with that surgical drive to score. Lamar responds. It felt like we were getting set up for an all-time type game, and it was anything but. Lamar could not find a way to respond to Steve Spagnuolo, that defense and the blitz, as you've pointed out, CC. He was holding onto the ball too long. There were throws that he couldn't make. I mean, that play in the fourth quarter when the Ravens were down 17-7 and he threw the ball into triple coverage. Come on, what are we doing here? This is not MVP type play. And I think it's a sign of respect to hold Lamar to a certain standard because of what he's accomplished, but he did not show us that yesterday.
No, and their plan for the blitz was absolutely awful. They weren't great in the red zone. They were 0 for, and then you talk about Lamar on third down. He was 1 of 6 for 7 yards. I mean, that's just abysmal, right? I mean, he took 2 sacks too. So he was terrible in situational football, and then you compound it with the turnovers, right? The strip sack, which ultimately didn't amount to much because you were able to get the turnover on downs on the Kansas City Chiefs. You stopped them on 4th down in the red zone. But still, you take away an opportunity for your offense to put together a drive because you turned the ball over. And then you throw that interception in the end zone. God knows what he was looking at. Maybe it was Isaiah Likely putting his hand up. But under any uncertain terms, Lamar Jackson cannot throw that football.
No.
Can I ask you a question about that,
You can't throw
CC?
it in triple coverage, dog.
No.
You got to see that. What's up?
When a guy puts up his arms, that means, hey, I got it. I'm open, right?
Yes, correct.
That doesn't mean the quarterback has to throw. It's not like by rule.
Yeah, but things are moving fast. And sometimes the quarterback can't see all of that, right? Like sometimes.
So that's the immediate alert. I got to trust my guy.
You see a flash. Exactly. I got to trust my guy. Go back to the Jacksonville Jaguars game. Isaiah Likely throws up his hand. Lamar Jackson is scrambling around. He throws it up for grabs, and Isaiah Likely comes down with the jump ball. It's a 50-50 ball.
So now I have proof of concept.
Exactly. But in that situation, here's what I don't understand. Even if you're throwing it to Isaiah Likely, you're throwing it in the end zone. What do they teach quarterbacks? Helmet or higher when you're throwing the ball in the end zone, right? All right, throw it up in the end zone. If Isaiah Likely doesn't jump up and make a great play, then all of a sudden it ends up going out of the end zone and it's an incomplete pass, whether than an interception. But again, when you have multiple turnovers in the end zone, like they did, the interception, but then also the Zay Flowers fumble, then that basically gifts the game to the Chiefs. And when you're on the opposite sideline of Pat Mahomes, you do not have that type of margin for error.
Let's hear what Lamar had to say about that interception in the end zone.
I see Tampa too, and I see both of them. I see both of them trailing him, and I didn't want to throw it all out the end zone. I just tried to let him turn around and make a play. I thought it was going to be PI, but, it is what it is. The safety made a great play and made an interception.
Yeah, made an interception, likely put the hand up. CC just brought up the proof of concept previously as it relates to the Jacksonville game. But again, as somebody that has supported Lamar Jackson, I need to be fair in the current assessment. When talking about Lamar Jackson, he's an elite regular season performer. He's an elite regular season performer. He's not an elite performer because that would include everything. Patrick Mahomes is an elite performer, is an all-time great, maybe the greatest performer we've ever seen at that position, right? There are some guys that you may look at and say, they're great in the play. Nick Foles, great in the playoffs.
Unreal.
Right? You would not say a great regular season performer. And I'm not equating Nick Foles and Lamar Jackson. Let's be clear on that. But you get what I'm saying. There's a difference. When talking about Lamar Jackson, like Joel Embiid in the NBA, a great regular season performer. But Lamar Jackson in the playoffs is worse than Lamar Jackson in the regular season. If the Baltimore Ravens could sign up for Lamar Jackson in the regular season and apply him to the playoffs, they may be going to the Super Bowl. That's not who he was yesterday. That's not who he's been. He has a losing record in the playoffs, and statistically, he is a worse player in the postseason than he is in the regular season. You can't argue that, even for those like us who are trying to support him. 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776 is your telephone number to be a part of the show. We'll get your phone calls in on Lamar. Is that a fair assessment? Elite regular season performer? Are we putting the Lions' loss trying to win his third Super Bowl, his first 6 years of his career as a starter, statistically greater than that of Tom Brady's, which is just ridiculous. And now the GOAT conversation is going to start if he wins his third Super Bowl. Amazingly enough, as we sit here today, Tom Brady has more than 3 times the amount of Super Bowl wins as Mahomes has. But if you do it based on pacing, Mahomes is pacing in a better direction than Brady was at this exact point. The beauty
not even just pacing, but just overall impact on his team's success, right? Mm-hmm. Seriously, Patrick Mahomes has 2 MVPs. Tom Brady had 0 through his first 6 seasons as a starter. So quite literally, the league is telling you that this dude has impacted his team's success in this historic run that they've been on more so than what we saw with Tom Brady in his first 6 seasons where he won 3 championships. That's what the league is saying.
Yes, I'm not arguing that. I would say that the level of system that allowed Brady to, like Belichick could put in this system that he wanted to put in forever because Brady was able to run it. Andy Reid has done the same thing with Mahomes. That they are both, they both play for 2 geniuses. And I think the 2 geniuses have these crazy systems of, if we could do this, 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 and this. And they can because of the quarterbacks that they have. Like Andy Reid, some of the misdirection, some of the plays, the motion, everything that he's doing, not everybody can handle it. This guy can handle it. What he has done is just absolutely phenomenal. And I think that when we look at them historically, this is going to be your 1-2. This is going to be.
Just look at the numbers, though. Patrick Mahomes has a better winning percentage. He has a better completion percentage, 9,000 more passing yards, 90 more touchdowns, and you're talking about 17 less interceptions. The only thing that's missing is the Super Bowl titles, and Patrick Mahomes is about to play for his 3rd Super Bowl title in a matter of 6 years. Think about that.
Why Brady beat him?
I'm winning a Super Bowl every other year. If he finishes the drill in a couple of weeks and wins the title, he would have the same amount of championships as Tom Brady did through his first 6 seasons. But he would have he'd have more MVPs. He'd have 2 to Brady's 0. It's phenomenal what Mahomes is doing. And Smalls, you used the perfect word to describe it. He's peerless. None of his contemporaries are close to where he is, can match what he's been able to do. But I'm just sitting here thinking about the all-time greats. I don't know that there are any all-time greats that have matched what Patrick Mahomes has done through his first 6 seasons as a starter.
And if he wins this one, how impressive would that be for you guys? Because this version of the Kansas City Chiefs is not as dominant as we've seen. Yes, they still have Travis Kelce. Yes, Steve Spagnuolo and the defense still obviously found a way to help them and be very impactful throughout the season. But this group of receiving core, was not great this season. We saw a vulnerability in the Kansas City Chiefs that we have not seen in years. I never thought that they would be able to get here, but they find a way. I feel like this is going to be one of those years, if they're able to get it done, where we're like, if he can get it done with this group, he's going to get it done any time that he's presented the opportunity.
Smalls, I'm glad you brought up the receivers because I want to go back to yesterday's game. Going into the game, who are the 2 receivers that the Baltimore Ravens defense definitely had to stop for Kansas City. Who are the receivers?
Well, you certainly have to stop Travis Kelce.
Yeah, and Rashee Rice, right?
Yeah.
And Rashee Rice, right? Those are the two receivers that you absolutely have to stop because those are Mahomes' favorite two targets. Yesterday, Patrick Mahomes targeting Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce. He was 19 of 20 for 162 yards and a touchdown. Think about it, 19 of 20. Only one incompletion targeting those two dudes. One. I just don't understand how that's even possible. Now, you have to attribute that to the greatness of Andy Reid in terms of the X's and O's and scheming guys open. I'll give him that. But then also how great Patrick Mahomes is, how accurate he is, how he's able to ad-lib and manipulate the pocket and get out and buy time for his receivers to uncover. I mean, it was just a masterclass. And then the touchdown that he threw to Travis Kelce, it wasn't as if it was bad coverage by Kyle Hamilton. It was just a perfect throw and catch. I mean, you're talking about back shoulder throw in the end zone. It was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, and we're showing it on ESPN2, but that's a great throw. And that's because
it's Brady and Gronk.
It's because
it's the same thing.
It's because those two have that chemistry. And that was the first touchdown that Kyle Hamilton gave up to an opposing tight end this season. It happened in that spot. That just shows you how good Patrick Mahomes is, how good Travis Kelce is, but then also how good Andy Reid is to trust his guys and to also put them in positions to have success. So I can't take anything away from the greatness of the Kansas City Chiefs in talking about how Lamar melted down in yesterday's AFC Championship game. We spent a lot of time focusing on how bad Lamar and that Ravens offense was, and rightfully so, but we also got to acknowledge how surgical Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense and that team overall was. It was a masterclass performance, both sides of the ball, both play callers.
The only thing I'll disagree with what Small said is in terms of the building of this team, the makeup of the team, this is exactly how I would want a team. If I'm Kansas City, spend the money on defense, have Kelce, offensive line, and find receivers. Their receivers were horrible during the course of the season, don't get me wrong, but I would never spend the money on receivers. I don't need to. I have Patrick Mahomes. He'll make D-level guys B-level guys. And if I can get them to B with Travis Kelce's an A+, and the defense playing that way, I'm good. Dale in North Carolina, listening on 94.1. What's up, Dale?
Good morning, guys. Let me tell you.